A house is probably the most expensive and valuable item you'll ever own. So when it comes to purchasing one, there is no wonder that scammers will try to take advantage of you in various ways. Here are the top 10 real estate scams that you should be aware of. My name is Dom, I'll be your host while you're watching Scam Detector. Number 10. Hackers stealing your down payment. A hacker could fool you into thinking that he is your agent and tricks you into sending him money that you'll never get back. Let's say your realtor's name is Bill Baker. Bill Baker's email account gets hacked. The hacker observes Baker's correspondence with his clients, including you. The hacker, posing as Bill Baker, sends you an email complete with instructions on where to wire your closing funds. You follow these instructions. But there is one last step. Kissing your money goodbye, as it will disappear into an untraceable abyss overseas. This is what you can do to prevent this scam. First of all, don't share sensitive information in email. For money wiring instructions, request a phone call. Get verification of the transfer as soon as possible. If you suspect a scam, have the receiving bank freeze any withdrawal attempts of the newly deposited funds. If you've reached the bank in time, that is. Number 9. Real estate agents assigning the sales to themselves. A buyer had purchased a house. Between the time it was a firm deal and the title transfer date, he got into a severe car accident and could no longer work for the short term. The realtor that was representing him had talked the buyer into assigning the sale to the realtor himself for a discounted price, because he fearfully convinced the buyer that he would have difficulties keeping his financing from the lender. Assigning to yourself is a clear conflict of interest. The realtor did not try to market the assignment to anyone else. And the amount was $100,000 less than the market value. And he also forged the seller's signature to convince the buyer that it was okay to assign the property. And now the buyer is left without a home and also all the funds that he had put into it. Number 8. Arc Fault Breaker Swap Out Scam. Arc Fault Breaker swap outs are a common scam in the flipping industry. New building code requires that electrical boxes contain arc fault breakers as opposed to traditional breakers in order to prevent electrical fires. While definitely safer, these arc fault breakers can add upwards of $800 to the cost of the renovation. Following the issuance of a use and occupancy permit, some flippers will return to the home and replace these expensive arc fault breakers with the cheaper traditional breakers, adding profit to their bottom line. Number 7. Bait and switch scheme. Another real estate fraud is the bait and switch scheme. The scam occurs when a prospective buyer offers an above market value price to a home seller. The seller, blown away by the great offer, excitedly signs on the dotted line. Sadly, the so-called buyer is a scammer here and he has no intention of purchasing the property at this price. Here's what happens next in the bait and switch scheme. The buyer comes back to the seller with an excuse as to why this price no longer works for him, and requests a reduction to below market value. And on top of all that, he threatens to cancel if his demand is not met. Stressed by the passage of time and ongoing costs, the frustrated seller agrees to the reduction. If you're looking to sell your house, here are a few ways to avoid this scam. Confirm proof of funds at the time of executing the contract. Do not grant unreasonable extensions or reductions. Number 6. Duplicated listings. We can often see legitimate rental listings reposted on Craigslist for a much lower price. Unfortunately, many people fall for these fake listings and wire money overnight to the owners of these fake listings, and then obviously cannot get access and eventually locate the real estate company behind the listing. Victims can only do one thing at this point: go to the police. Number 5. Real estate lawyers' fake profiles. In this case, the scammer takes control of the proceeds of a real estate closing by impersonating one of the parties to the closing and redirecting proceeds to an account controlled by them. The criminal might impersonate the seller's lawyer and instruct that the proceeds from the sale be redirected to a new account. All such changes should be confirmed by a phone call to a number that you know to be valid to confirm that they are from the real seller. Number 4. Fake escrow service request. Regarding online rentals, there are a few red flags that you should be aware of. Raise that red flag if Western Union, MoneyGram, or an escrow service is involved. Also do the same if the poster is asking you to wire money before you see the apartment. And obviously hold that red flag high up in the sky if the price is too good to be true. Scammers are constantly evolving, and with everything nowadays being so public, they can quickly get their hands on official looking documentation such as license numbers from real estate agents, deeds, applications, and so on. Be careful when you're looking for an apartment and be realistic. And if something seems to be too good to be true, it probably is. Number 3. Unlicensed realtor scam. In this scam, a so-called realtor sells the property to a buyer. However, once the check is written for escrow, an unlicensed realtor deposits the money into their own account and not into the escrow account. Do yourself a favor and vet anyone you're going to be working with, both your realtor and the one on the other end of the sale. A LinkedIn account doesn't mean that someone is trustworthy or a valid realtor, so do your homework. Number 2. Title fraud. This scam is more than just a deposit or fee. It involves identity theft. The scammers will fabricate documents to make it look like they are the property owner. Using these materials, the scammers will take out a new mortgage on the property. With a secured loan, the false owner can take the cash and then leave the real owner with the remaining payments. Prevent this by getting title insurance and safeguarding your personal information. Number 1. Fake realtor. Let's say you find a property that you really like. You phone the realtor who arranges to meet you there. On your way to the apartment, he calls and mentions he had a small accident and won't be able to make it anymore. However, you shouldn't worry much, he says, because the landlord will be there to show you around. To make it up to you, the realtor promises to negotiate a lower price than what the landlord will give you. Call me when you leave the house and don't sign a lease right away, he says. When you arrive at the house, you find many other people interested in renting the same place. The landlord gives you a price, but you want to negotiate a better deal. So you call the realtor and work out a deal you're happy with. All you have left to do is to wire him the money for the first 2 months, and then you're all set. But on moving day, you show up only to find someone else moving in. The realtor wasn't a realtor at all. He just saw the property online and reposted it with his own contact information. How to avoid? Do some research and make sure that you are talking to the real people behind the property. But that was the 10 most common real estate scams. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more scam prevention content. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. My name is Dom. I'm going to see you in the next video, and you watched Scam Detector.